Hey guys, Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is Double Shot of Steelers presented by FanDuel. This program promises to not make a solitary mention of Cleveland's backup quarterback because that alone makes us completely unique in the industry. Am I right? Am I right? You're going to want to talk about him anyway, aren't you? Because they've poisoned you. They've filled your head with these concepts that he's somehow really relevant and that, all of the teams made such a mistake and Kevin Stefanski is such an idiot. But see, I'm not talking about that. We're going to talk about instead is Dillon Gabriel, the Browns legitimately promising young quarterback out of Oregon. He was the 3rd round pick. And at the time, everybody, how can they take the guy from Oregon? Well, you watch Gabriel, specifically in the game last week that the Browns played over in London against the Vikings. And he has some excitement to him. He, moves around real well, throws with a purpose, has confidence, poise, protects the ball, 3 touchdowns against no interceptions. All of the stuff that you'd actually want to see in a young quarterback as opposed to just, manufacturing that out of thin air. Or because he's somebody's son or because he's really flamboyant or whatever. I find the Steelers' pursuit, allegedly, of Cleveland's backfield this week to be a pivotal thing. I think you're going to see the Steelers, well, I'm not sure exactly what you're going to see from them defensively. Because on one hand, you have a school of thought that when you're facing the young quarterback specifically, that you want to drop as many people into coverage as possible. You want to confuse them. You don't necessarily want to chase them around. Maybe that's what you do with the Browns. Maybe on the other hand, you just pin the ears back and go. Maybe you just say, hey, listen, we're going after not just Gabriel back there. We're also going after Quinshon Judkins, who's gotten off to a terrific start. He also is a rookie. He was a 2nd rounder out of Ohio State. He's got 347 yards on 72 carries. That's a 4.8 average. He's got a couple of touchdowns. He's also caught 9 passes out of the backfield for 62 yards. He's a weapon. He's a real live weapon. The Steelers, as Mike Tomlin likes to say, would need no introduction to Jerome Ford, who's also done some damage to them. But the guy that they're using predominantly is Judkins out of the back. So what do you do? Do you go after them? Do you back off? This is what we're going to talk about today on the program. We're going to be joined here in a moment by Chris Halleck.
At DK Pittsburgh Sports, we take pride in coverage that connects our city's fans to their favorite teams. Now, that connection's stronger than ever. Introducing our all-new state-of-the-art app. Find expert inside reporting and original podcasts. Check live box scores. Track the latest stats. Chat it up with our community of thousands of fans, all in one place. The new app from DK Pittsburgh Sports. Coverage that connects.
Welcome back to Double Shot of Steelers. And what do you know, Chris? We're all of a sudden joined by about a zillion people here. You can duck down and get into the shot. Everybody, I'll get out of the way.
I can
we have
see
all
that.
We have all these people here at the HQ shop. They're in town, I presume, for Steelers Browns. Yes. Everybody is okay. I mentioned to Savannah, Georgia here. You didn't give me a name. Tamara. I said, come on in. You can get comfortable. She puts her hand on my shoulder here. It's like, it's no big deal. This is how they do it in Savannah.
That's right.
Appreciate having you guys here. It's really, really cool. Say hi to Chris. There's Chris.
What's up?
Chris.
Hi.
Come on, Steeler family.
Chris, I don't know if you picked up on my opening segment there or not.
Yes, I did.
But yeah. I've got no thoughts really on how they go after these 2 Cleveland children in the backfield. How do they do that?
Well, there are a number of ways to do it. I mean, you can literally try to flush the quarterback to one side. whether that be away from TJ or toward TJ, whatever it is. They anticipate the Steelers. TJ talked about it today. They are going to anticipate bootlegs to both sides with Dylan Gabriel. They like to move the pocket to try to protect him. So when it comes to getting after the quarterback, I think it's just make him feel as uncomfortable as possible. I don't think it's always about – this is actually one instance in which you do kind of want to play the PFF game where you do just want to kind of –
Get back there.
Yeah, just get back there. It doesn't always have to end up in a sack. Sure, you'd love for it to end up in a sack, but you also want to make him uncomfortable, make him make mistakes, make him force incomplete passes, force interceptions possibly. When it comes to stopping Quinshon Judkins, listen – I think the thing that's going to be interesting is the Steelers' rush defense is actually very, very efficient when it comes to stopping runs between the tackles. I was looking at some of that stuff earlier in the week, and I'm curious to see how that's going to match up because Judkins is a guy who, it's a fall forward type of guy. And so I'm curious to see how this is, how stout or stouter the Steelers defense can be against. I think that's a pretty key matchup. But with Gabriel, I think it's just make him as uncomfortable as possible, just like it is for every rookie quarterback.
Chris, we're finally back out of the bye week, ready for real football this weekend. It's time to check out the latest odds, futures, and win totals on the FanDuel Sportsbook. If you think the Steelers are going to take care of the Browns, maybe if you think they're also going to take care of the Bengals, lock in your bets today. Whatever your game, FanDuel Sportsbook delivers the latest lines, futures, and specials so that you can join in on all the action. What is the line on this game?
I was just pulling it up right now. You'd be surprised.
Okay.
Because with the way we've been talking about this game, what do you think it is? What do you think?
Well, I mean, the way people talk about this game and they look at the quarterbacks and they see Aaron Rodgers against a child, they see 4-1 or 3-1 against 1-4. I would think it would be pretty lopsided.
Steelers minus 6.5.
Okay.
6.5. That's almost a touchdown.
Yeah.
I don't know,
man.
That.
There's all kinds of variables that are playing into that too. The home field, the Browns coming back from Europe. I'm sure all of this stuff factors into that. How about the one that you mention all the time for years now? You've been bringing up Mike Tomlin's record after a bye week.
That's true. I mean, they're 14-4 under Mike Tomlin after a bye week. They typically take care of business in these games. It almost doesn't matter who the opponent is. Sometimes, I mean, what was it? Last year they played the Commanders road right after the bye and won. That was not a game I think many people thought the Steelers were going to win.
And I mean, in hindsight, it's a team that made the conference championship and the Steelers beat them in their own place.
Yeah, but I mean, I think even at the time we kind of already knew. Like the Commanders had a large enough sample size by that time where you're like, okay, this is a legitimate football team. I don't know that we thought at that time that was going to be one of the final four teams trying to play for a Super Bowl at that point, but still a legitimate playoff team.
We knew they were good.
Yeah,
we knew they were good. We knew that there were a lot of good things going on, and actually, Commanders had a lot of good things going on in that game. Yeah. The Steelers just happened to beat them, especially Terry McLaurin. My goodness.
The Steelers also beat themselves a little bit, too. I mean, James Pierre dropping the fake punt. I mean, it was.
Oh, wow. I forgot about that.
Nah, right in the hands, just drops it.
Oh, man. That would make you a Phillies pitcher today.
Oh, man. I was going to say.
What a night for the city of Philadelphia, incidentally.
Gosh, it's so terrible.
Have you seen that stat?
Yes, I have.
Every last one of their teams lost, but the baseball team lost in the most ridiculous fashion.
Yeah, it was like the only night in which the NFL team lost, the NHL team lost, and the MLB team lost in like to be eliminated from the postseason, and it's happened twice in history. And
twice? Okay. Oh yeah, the other one was 100 years ago or something, right?
But it was also Philly.
Yeah. I really should be suppressing this smile. More than I am right now.
We're allowed to have bias against the city of Philadelphia. We're not talking
James Fairfield says, don't forget that this is the Browns Super Bowl. You know, I don't know that it's the Browns Super Bowl. I hear that a lot. I see a team, and again, this is just based on, because we had the bye week. We don't have much chance to watch this stuff on television. Really don't. But I watched Browns Vikings from London. I saw a team that was trying to keep itself alive because they have the defense to compete with anybody. They really do.
Yeah.
And when you have that, even if it's just on one side of the ball, you believe that. Remember the 2017 Steelers, where you were just like, you knew they couldn't stop anybody, and you didn't care because you knew they were an automatic 30 to 35 points a game, and you felt like they could compete with anybody. The Browns, I'm sure the Browns feel that way. I read some of Myles Garrett's comments after the loss in London. Garrett was like really indignant, calling guys out, and this is a big. So I don't know that they're coming here thinking, gee whiz, let's beat the Steelers because my grandpa hates them. I think it's more. I really think it'll be more about, okay, let's win the division game. Let's push every button that we can. But at the same time, let's get back into this. Look at the rest of this division. Look at the wild card race. It's not like the AFC North is really distinguishing itself.
The only like blowback I might have to that is he might not have done it this week, but there have definitely been weeks in very recent seasons, I think even as recent as last season, in which Myles Garrett has taken shots at the Steelers or TJ Watt, or made subtle digs in terms of being like making it about defensive player of the year, where it's a rivalry between him and TJ, and they're making it about things that the game shouldn't be about. The game should just be getting the W, not about which edge rusher can, outperform the other. Meanwhile, TJ did not get a question today about Myles whenever he addressed the media, and that was on purpose. And
what?
I'm not going to ask. I can only speak for myself. I'm not going to speak for any other reporters, but I'm not going to ask that question. Do you know why? Because TJ hates getting questions about Myles.
Yeah,
you're not
as he really should, because how does he win in those situations?
Exactly. He hates getting those questions, and he didn't get one today. And he made a little, I'm not going to say what he said, but he made a little comment pretty much thanking everybody for not asking him a Myles Garrett question.
I love it.
Because he loathes those questions because his focus is about winning these games. And even he talked about, listen, with a game against the Browns, throw the records out. Just throw the records out. It doesn't matter if we're 3-1 or they're 1-4. These AFC North matchups are different. And it's hard to put words on it. It's just you can't just look at the Browns and say they're 1-4. Oh yeah, the Steelers should win this game. It's not that simple.
Now, Robert asks, he says, DK, did you watch the baseball playoffs? No, of course not. First of all, I never would watch the baseball playoffs unless the Pirates were in them. So I'd never watch the baseball playoffs. I was covering, of course, the Penguins' home opening victory over the Islanders last night, 4-3, in front of not only a really, really lively crowd at PPG Paints Arena that really seemed to appreciate what they were watching, especially after the opening ceremony that recognized Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, and Chris Letang for entering their 20th season together.
It makes me feel old, man.
No, I'll tell you what makes me feel old, because it also happened last night. But it's a record in professional sports.
Yeah,
that broke the one that had been held by the Yankees. Derek Jeter, Jorge Posada, and Mariano Rivera. Makes me feel old as seeing 66.
Yeah,
I guess that's my childhood, and seeing 66, who looks great, by the way. Not that he looks old. He looks great. He looks like, seriously, dude, he could. You can't convince me that he couldn't go out there and handle a power play.
I saw him at the 6.6K.
You did?
Run. Yeah. He's always there. He always like high fives all the people who finished the 6.6K run. We were on the family walk side because I have 2 young kids, and there's no way I can get my kids to do anything that's 6.5 kilometers at all. Even doing half of that was a task, but he's always there. He's always waving at the very beginning, and he's high-fiving all the guys that are all the people that do the run. So it's really cool to see him do that. So yeah, he still looks like he can play.
So we got 2 first place teams in Pittsburgh now.
Yeah.
And the one first place team was over at the arena supporting the other first place team, Cam Hayward, along with Nick Herbig, Patrick Queen, and help me out, Chris.
Keanu Benton was there too.
Keanu Benton was the one that was really revving it up too. Yeah. Did the It's a Hockey Night in Pittsburgh crowd rev up at the beginning. And then TJ shows up and Daniel Equale and a bunch of other, like they all had their own little section down there. They were into it. You could see them down there. They were doing what the Penguins will do for them on Sunday. The Penguins have I don't remember if they practice or not. Oh no, they have to fly out to the West Coast. Sorry. But you will see, especially Gino. Sid's just a really big football fan, but Gino is a Steelers fan. Gino lives and breathes for the Steelers. They've been here 20 years.
Yeah,
you know, they don't have an NFL in Russia. This is like his thing. It's really, really cool to see that. It's really cool to have a positive vibe around town. Honest to God, Chris. How many times? Tell them what I say to you all the time when our teams lose. Give me
just one.
Just one. That's all I say is give me one team that doesn't suck. Give me one team that we can have fun covering, that we can, and if it was the Pirates, you could argue if they had competent management.
Yeah.
2025 could have been a fun season for them too.
I've covered a really terrible losing season. I covered the 2021 Rangers and that
Texas Rangers.
Yeah, Texas Rangers. Sorry, I will clarify.
These Rangers might be terrible too, but the ones coming into town tomorrow. But that's another subject.
No, that team lost 102 games. It was some rough baseball. But it was different because I could see what they were doing. I could see what they were building. A lot of the players weren't there yet and playing, or they were getting there and just getting started, like the Jonah Himes and the other guys who ended up being role players on the team that ended up winning the World Series 2 years later, which I did not cover because I was working for this company by that time. But I'm just saying, you're
done covering World Series, my man.
But I'm just saying,
we signed that on the way into this place.
It is different, even though when you're covering a losing team, if you are covering a losing team that actually has a vision for getting out of that stretch of whatever, that stretch of hodgepodge of nothingness, as the one broadcaster put it for the Pirates. But it's terrible. But no, it's fun to see the Steelers always trying. They always try every single year. And the Penguins, obviously, they have a vision for the long term. But to see it taking off a little, early, it's been 2 games, but it's been a couple fun nights of hockey, that's for sure.
Corey says that he's landing in Pittsburgh at 8:45 a.m. tomorrow, and this will be his first true home game.
Nice.
He's born here in Pittsburgh, but he's never made it to a game. I would say, Corey, that we're looking forward to having you, except that you got to come down here to hear that. So we're at 224 Fifth Avenue. We're open tomorrow from 12 to 6. As you see, you'll have plenty of company in terms of people shopping for stuff and talking sports and whatever else here, which is kind of what they do here. Come right downtown, 224 Fifth Avenue. I'll be here. She'll be here all day. I'll be here like a little bit later in the afternoon because I'm heading back to do the hockey tomorrow night as well. This is that time of year here. Aaron says, I can see the Browns getting more sacks due to Aaron Rodgers' age and inability to move. Is that fair, Chris? I think, first off, I think Rodgers has been, I don't want to overstate this, but he's been a little bit more mobile and agile than I thought he would be.
And I could tell watching the Jets last year.
Yeah.
Early in the season, he couldn't move.
Well, he was coming off the Achilles. He talked about it.
He's coming off the Achilles. He was dealing with an ankle at one point. He was dealing with a hamstring at another point. But in the second half of the season, I'd say probably maybe the last 5 or 6 games, he looked different. He looked like he was finally moving. Now, is he moving the same way he did 10 years ago? Of course not. No 41-year-old is moving the same as a 31-year-old. But he is more mobile than people think he is. He can move a little bit more. Shoot, man, he had the one run against the Vikings. Now, granted, you don't want him to fumble the ball, but he had the one run against the Vikings where he picked up a first down. He's not like he's completely immobile. He's not a statue back there. The thing that concerns me when we're talking about concern for a human being's like well-being is Joe Flacco behind Cincinnati's offensive line.
Why would he do? Why?
I don't know. He got traded. I don't know if he had a say in it.
I mean, that's when Joe. Well, he does. He can just say,
"Yeah,
you know, hey, sorry,
retiring.
this is a bridge too far. Everybody, I'm out of here. Who needs this stuff, right?"
I'm worried about that one because Joe doesn't move. He's never moved, and he really doesn't move at 40.
You know, Chris, to swing this back to what I talked about in the open here.
Yeah.
I think it's going to end up being a big deal here. How the Steelers attack, first of all, the rookie quarterback, and secondly, the rookie running back. Can it be the same thing, or do you want to do one of those old school Dick LeBeau things where you just try to baffle the young man, the quarterback, and say, we're just going to show him, 700 people in coverage, and all kinds of disguises. Or the Steelers not even there yet defensively. All I hear from these players when I talk to them is, well, we succeeded because we simplified things. Okay, well, you're not going to want to complicate them then.
Yeah, I mean, but it also is like what's simple to them versus what's simple to the offense's perspective. Sometimes you can have things that look complicated, but they're really not that complicated. And that really comes down to coaching. I think about the Brian Flores defense and how many times you will see players starting out 20 yards from the line of scrimmage and then run and end up being like a blitzer, or guys who look like they're going to be in press man or look like they're going to be blitzing. And then they just, right before the ball snap, they just start sprinting to go cover a deep half of the field or whatever it is. No, the Steelers don't have that kind of stuff on defense anymore. But just because it doesn't look crazy before the snap doesn't mean that it can't be complicated, that it can't be stressful. And I think stressful is more important than the way Mike Tomlin likes to put it, smoke and mirrors. I really think that it might just be, listen, that's TJ Watt over there. Yeah. And just in case you guys want to shift your protection to make sure he didn't get in there, by the way, right in there in the middle, that's the big old 97. That's Cam Hayward. Mm-hmm. If he doesn't get to you, his two big mitts are going to be sticking up trying to block your passes. And by the way, you stand like barely not even 6 feet above the ground. So good luck. And then, by the way, on the other side, in case you guys want to shift protection to TJ side, that guy's Nick Herbig, and he runs faster than some wide receivers in the league. So he's going to be flying off of the edge right in your face because you're left-handed. You get what I'm saying? Like, I think sometimes that's the Mike Tomlin thing of being like, listen, we've got these players, and we trust that more than, hey, let's try to do a whole bunch of smoke and mirrors type stuff.
Dave Black says that the Steelers need to limit David Njoku, and that's been true for a long time. They also have not exactly excelled in this area for a long time. He is, man, I'm an Njoku guy. This guy makes plays. He makes big plays at big times, if there is such a thing in a Cleveland football game. He's a real talent. Now, is he somebody who can become a little bit of a parachute for Gabriel? Gabriel gets in trouble and says, all right, let's just start firing away to the tight end.
Yeah.
We'll see about that.
I mean, listen, the tight ends are going to be weapons in this game for the Browns. No team lines up in 12 personnel, meaning 2 tight ends on the field, more than the Browns. They are in 12 literally half of the time, 50%, which leads the NFL. David Njoku is going to be one of them. Harold Fannin, the rookie, I think they drafted in the second round or third round. Yeah, he's been not just a impressive for a rookie, but a versatile guy. He can do a number of different things. He's carried the ball for them. Like he's somebody that he could be a problem. I mean, I'm not going to say like more than Njoku, but it's a different kind of problem than Njoku is. Njoku is just a really talented tight end who could do a number of things. Harold Fannin's going to hit you in different ways. And listen, the Browns don't have a lot of talent at wide receiver. Jerry Jeudy is the best they've got, and that's the only reason I'd probably say maybe don't rush Jalen Ramsey back yet. But also, you could help. It could help to have Jalen Ramsey in there if you want to stick him on Njoku every now and then too.
Jerry Judy's a good football player, and
He is
a nice. He's a nice draft pick, I thought, by them, and he's been consistent. He's been. I mean, I'm not his agent or something. I'm just throwing it out there. I've always liked his skill set, including where was he before that? When he was with the Broncos, he started out. Yeah. Robert says that Gabriel is 5'10" in high heels. I don't know if he's going to play the game in heels, but I do know that a smaller quarterback is going to be at a disadvantage against a team like the Steelers. One of the things that we talked about a lot out in Latrobe was all of the very large humans. Maybe this is a day that we see a player we seem to have forgotten about, Y.A. Black. Why? Because...
Well, we forgot about him because somebody else played.
Because Keanu Benton said, I'm still here.
Yeah.
I'm still here. Don't write me off. Derek Harmon got healthy, but maybe you have a little bit more of a rotation. Let's remember that even though you're playing one game at a time and you're focusing on one game at a time, the coaches can still sit in their rooms over on the South Side and say, hey, let's figure out ways that we can do significant rotation on the defense. We talk about it a lot with the outside linebackers, but it also applies to the defensive front. If you go with a four-man, if you go with a Cam Hayward, Keanu Benton, Derek Harmon, Y.A. Black kind of thing, you're going to be a lot fresher come Thursday in Cincinnati.
Oh yeah, I actually asked TJ today, and I don't know if we have the clip pulled up or not, but I did ask TJ today about how important it is to have that rotation, because I think whenever, because Alex Highsmith is cleared to play, so like he's going to be back, and so of course the big thing there is like, does that mean less snaps for Nick Herbig, or like how is that going to work, because Herbig's been playing so well, and that's a big thing, and so. Is it more important to have all three guys on the field at the same time, or is it more important to have that rotation, to have TJ, Alex, and Nick be able to jump in for each other at any given moment to keep each other fresh?
Well, I mean, if you think about this too, not to be that negative guy, but if you go back to 2024, it was this kind of schedule crap that wrecked the season.
Yeah.
So if you learn how to manage that, if you learn some kind of inside football lessons about that, how the Steelers, didn't do things at that time. Now, I understand these opponents aren't the caliber of those opponents, but it was still a real thing. We do have a TJ clip, something that you asked him about using the Vikings game as a template, if you want to set that up.
Yeah, I mean, I just asked him because obviously when you look at the way the Steelers defense played in that game, getting after the quarterback as often as they did, putting him in 3rd and longs, taking the ball away, like, is that the blueprint? Is that the way that this defense should be playing pretty much all season?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's let me open that. Take the comment down off the screen first.
I got it.
Okay, yeah, boss is all busy here.
I got
you. Here we go. Okay, go ahead.
Here, I'll do it.
Do you feel like the way you guys play defense against the Vikings is kind of the blueprint for how you guys want to play all season? Getting after the quarterback, forcing those takeaways, things like that.
Yeah, I mean, it would be awesome to get takeaways like that and sacks and all the splash that we were able to have. But it's obviously tough to do each and every week. But it starts with fundamentals of everybody doing their job, stopping the run, being able to create those turnovers and pin our ears back in those situations. It's much easier said than done.
So what TJ did was he answered your question by saying, yes, we have to be good at everything.
Yeah.
I mean, because they're not going to say, I mean, nobody is. It's Friday before the game. They're not about to tell any of us, oh yeah, we're going after them. It's going to be hell on earth, no mercy. It's just, they have to be good at everything. They have to prepare for everything. Reggie wants to know if Herbig is effective from the left side. It seems like only Jack Sawyer plays from the left when TJ isn't in. That's the way things have been set up with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Since Herbig's been here, and in a very short time that Sawyer's been here, that's the alignment that we've seen, 99% of the time? And I'm only leaving the 1% out in case I missed something.
Well, I think the thing to take into account this year is that Alex has been out the past couple of games. So it's not like you have, I mean, Nick is going to be on the other side in Alex's spot. And so now when you have all three guys healthy and Nick is playing at the level that he's playing at, and literally every single person on the South Side who's been asked about Nick Herbig is saying, we are going to play him more because when you play well, the reward is more playing time. Like when that happens, there's only so many places you can go. You're either in for Alex or you're in for TJ. Unless you stick all three on the field. But again, I don't think a 3 outside linebacker set is really going to be utilized that often.
And let's remember, too, that Highsmith's coming off missing some significant time.
Yeah.
And when that's happened, the Steelers, their medical staff and coaching staff working with each other will put the player on a snap count. Just like we hear the term pitch count in baseball all the time. In football, they have a snap count. They're going to tell him, just like they did with Derek Harmon upon his return, that, hey, son, I don't care if you're Reggie White today, we're gonna shut you down once you hit 20 snaps and bring in the reliever. Okay, Highsmith very likely, especially with 2 games being played in 5-day span, is going to be on some kind of snap count, or even if it's just peripheral. So I think you're going to see a lot of Herbig.
I do too.
And you might see him get spelled by Highsmith as opposed to the other way around. I'm not saying Herbig will start. I would venture to guess, and that's all it is, that Herbig's going to end up with a higher snap count. And I do think you're going to see some Sawyer. I really do. I think let's put it another way. You can look at not every position on the field. There are some guys that are just where they play, they got to be out there for all 60 or whatever it is. But I do think you're going to see a lot more rotation in general. That's not to say they're going to take the Browns lightly. It's saying that you've got to win as many games as you can win over the course of the season. And you got to win Thursday in Cincinnati too.
Yeah, well, it's not like this team is just now starting to stress the importance of a rotation. They've been stressing this since they started drafting all these guys, since they drafted Derek Harmon and Y.A. Black and Jack Sawyer. They've been talking about, like, listen, we want to be able to have that rotation. And it's not just having a rotation for rotation's sake, because you want to have the rotation but not have the drop-off in production. And the great thing that you have right now with TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith, and Nick Herbig is you have 3 guys who are all very, very capable of providing splash on literally any given snap. TJ is TJ. He's been a defensive player of the year, should have been multiple defensive player of the year, whatever. Alex Highsmith's had 14.5 sacks in a season before. And that was during a season in which TJ missed half of the season. So it's not like he had TJ over there taking all the attention away, during that season. TJ was gone for half the year, and even when he came back, he wasn't quite TJ just yet. So Alex has had his moments to shine as well, and now Nick Herbig is starting to really blossom into a really, really, really good football player. So having that rotation and keeping all those guys fresh while not having the drop-off, that's the ideal scenario.
John Musgrave notes that Herbig has the best mullet. He didn't have the best mullet in the house last night, pal. When you're in a hockey arena, you will have stiff competition on the mullet front. No doubt about that. Stephen A. asks, how about Cam Scatabo last night? Dude, you didn't watch the hockey game? You seriously didn't watch the hockey game? What more do they have to do to get you in? It's a Pittsburgh team. All the teams have the same first name, wear the same set of colors, and you're watching whatever that was.
Yeah, I've been seeing the Cam Scatabo stuff. Listen, I understand, like, the whole thing about, like, listen, the Steelers could have drafted him and they didn't. They chose Caleb Johnson.
Yeah.
I just want to remind everybody, we are literally 5 weeks into the NFL season, which means
his career.
Yeah, we are 5 weeks into Cam Scatabo's career, into Caleb Johnson's career. Let's not write anybody. We could have written Barry Foster off really, really quickly in the early 90s after the kickoff, after his own kickoff return debacle. And Barry Foster ended up setting the franchise record for rushing yards in the season, and still owns it, by the way. So it's not like just because you start off really, really poorly means you're going to end up being poor. And just because you start off really hot, listen, the big is I watched Cam Scatterbo, watched all the tape. My comp for him was literally Jaylen Warren. That was my comp because I just saw bodies bouncing off of this guy that looks like a bowling ball.
Yeah. Although he came with that additional, I mentioned Cleveland's backup quarterback, though not by name at the outset of this program. One of those draft day legends. Everybody was talking about Scatterbo. Everybody was, you got that guy because you see that one highlight. It was a lot like, who was the defensive lineman? The defensive lineman who had the massive hit, played for South Carolina, ended up having an actual career.
Jadeveon Clowney.
Oh my God, Clowney. The Clowney hit in college.
Yeah.
He could have not done another thing the day of his life because the Clowney hit went viral. Now, never mind that guy was a sitting duck. Clowney came in completely unblocked and murdered the guy. It's still like Clowney, got to get Clowney because everybody's picturing that happening on every snap.
Yeah.
Well, Clowney ended up being an NFLer, but I don't know that he exactly reached those expectations.
I don't know if he reached those expectations, but he became a pretty good football player.
Right, exactly.
But the thing that I am watching, and see, this is already what I'm worried about. Hazel says Scatterbo is mini Mike Allstott. Listen, the thing that I had with Cam Scatterbo, watching him coming out of college, it wasn't his running ability, it wasn't his toughness or anything. When you run that violently and you already have that much mileage, and he had a lot of mileage in college for like what your typical college mileage is, he had a lot of it. And you're going into the NFL and you're running the same way. I think there's legitimate concern, and literally had scouts tell me this. There's legitimate concern for longevity there. And you're not drafting a guy to be a really great running back, to be this firecracker for
2 years. Yeah. And we talked about that yesterday with Earl Campbell.
Yeah.
I mean,
you're drafting a guy to have longevity.
Yeah. And it's to Jalen's credit, Jaylen Warren, that I know everybody talks, he's always hurt. Actually, Jalen's held up pretty well, and Jalen just signed himself a nice extension. And he's earned that. So, yeah, Mr. CJ says here, Merrill Hodge hit a lot too. He had problems later. He sure did. Merrill Hodge didn't shy away from anything as a football player. Robert Rhodes says, I remember Santonio Holmes having a bunch of fumbles early on. He finished the end of his rookie season with the game-winning touchdown against the Bengals. I haven't given up on Caleb. There's nothing to give up on. Yeah. I mean, I don't think there's anything to latch onto any more than I think there's anything to give up on. It's just the sample size is so small, and the kickoff thing I see is wholly insignificant because I don't know that he should have been returning kicks as a rookie anyway. I didn't want to see it. I didn't see what they saw in it. And we were talking about that before, Chris, before that happened. So I would take that and throw it right on out of the entire equation. From there, ask yourself what you think of Caleb Johnson as a runner. And then, to be more fair, ask yourself what you thought of Caleb Johnson as a runner in the one game where he had real live NFL blocking in front of him, and that was in Dublin, Ireland. That's it.
He had a few. He looked like after the first few runs, in which you still kind of saw it. All it took was one good run. And he got a 9-yard run to the right, running outside zone to the right. He made the nice cutback. He got 9 yards out of it. And then all of a sudden, the next runs after that, even though they weren't all 9 yards, he looked like a different running back at that point. I'm sure he's told you the same thing that he's told me, and because he's told it to me more than once, and that's that where he was in college. It ran all the time, and that was what he was used to. He had that kind of that rhythm. He said, "I'm a volume guy. I'm a guy that will carry the ball for you a lot." And then the more that he does that, the more that he gets confidence from that. And Cody says he's got to get the confidence. No, he has to do this first. Yeah. He has to get the carries. He has to get the feel. The confidence comes from there, and then the stuff starts snowballing. And I wouldn't bury him. Jeez,
Over what?
5 weeks in. 5 weeks in, man. Like I'm not saying Cam Scatterbo can't prove people wrong. He can. He can absolutely prove people wrong, and he can have a long career. He just might be built differently than most other human beings. But let's not just go ahead and proclaim Cam Scatterbo as like the next time, like the whole Creed. The Steelers should have drafted Creed Humphrey over Najee Harris. They should have drafted Cam Scatterbo over.
Well, you could do that forever, yeah.
Exactly.
But when you're talking about Caleb Johnson, though, remember this. I know that in some places, some people were preparing you for Caleb Johnson to be like the guy for the Steelers, because I'd seen and heard and read some of that, meaning from media. You didn't get that from either of these two guys.
No,
we were telling you.
Who literally was like personally, after watching all of the tape that I did, Caleb Johnson was one of my favorite running backs in the class. Like just from and it was a really, really good class. But that was also not just me knowing hey, that's one of my favorite guys. Like talking with people in the building that night when I brought up Caleb Johnson's name before he was even drafted, they were like, shh, don't jinx it. They wanted the guy.
It's not yet where it comes to him. And they knew that the whole time. They knew that going through the entire summer. So that shouldn't have been a surprise, much less a disappointment to anyone. It is to the Steelers' credit that, as I just saw somebody post on here a little bit ago, that if Scatterbo was in Pittsburgh, he wouldn't be playing because he wouldn't be ahead of Jaylen Warren.
No.
And if you have seen, whether you feel it's justified, rewarded or not, how the Steelers coaches feel about Kenny Gainwell, and then from there, how they reacted to Gainwell having the game that he did in Dublin, you will further know that the number 3 running back wasn't going to play here. Not in 2025. So it's just, this is a good one to let go here. Randy Wagner says, I still believe in Caleb Johnson. CJ says that Scatterbo would headbutt brick walls in college before games. I'm sure there's all kinds of Joe Magaratz legends related to the guy, judging by the way things went in around draft time for him. I will ask you, Chris, before we sign off today, because nobody mentioned his name in the entire chat, like not once. Can you imagine the circus if Cleveland's backup quarterback gets into the game?
Oh, God.
I swear we're not fishing for clicks or anything. It's not in the headline. We're not even saying his name. The algorithm can't find us to make this video go viral just because we're talking about him.
I was getting
which is the only problem that I have, by the way. I don't have any personal issue, whatever else with Cleveland's backup. I just can't stand that the entire country fell for this false narrative that was propped up by a single network. And they turned it into this thing that's lasted months, even when he's been 4th. I don't know. Do they have a 5th on the depth chart? 5th quarterback?
Not anymore.
He would have been on it if it was up to Kevin Stefanski solely, right?
Yeah. I mean, right? I think really the only reason why that guy is officially the backup now is because Bailey Zappi is technically on the practice squad. And if Bailey Zappi were on the active roster, I really think Zappi would be the backup.
Yeah. But he still could. I mean, you can still do stuff between now and tomorrow. Although Stefanski said, yeah.
But I mean, you would have to literally create an active roster spot. You can't just elevate him. You have to create an active roster spot for Zappi to make him the backup. And that's not easy.
I'll tell you what. This is unfair to the young man because we're talking about small sample sizes, and that has to go across the board when you say stuff like that. And all anybody saw from him at the NFL level was a little bit of preseason. But, oh, my God. Can you imagine the Steelers just going after that backfield and him running backward for 20 yards?
Yeah. And
then the circus that would follow. Like ESPN would be rocketing in reporters they'd be parachuting from the sky above Acrisure Stadium to land with cameras and filming everything. And listen, one thing that our mutual late friend Dale Lawley used to point out all the time when he was with us was you can say what you want about the coaches and the people who are inside the game and the decisions that they make at times, but oh my God, they know so much more than we do. Okay. Like even Matt Canada. Okay. He knew so much more football than any of us will ever forget.
Yeah.
The amount of information that they have, the ability to analyze that information, they weren't guessing at this draft pick. That nobody wanted him, and they didn't want him for a reason. You know,
it's very, very true. I mean, listen, the NFL tells you what they think of you. The same way that when people were crying about Mason Rudolph being the third quarterback a couple of years ago, listen, he was signed in late, and there were opportunities for any team to sign him, and they didn't sign him. That tells you what they thought. Now Mason's done quite a bit for himself since then. You know, he had an opportunity to seize, and he seized it. And he earned an opportunity with the Titans because of it, and he's earned an opportunity to be the unquestioned backup now to Aaron Rodgers. I mean, he is. Certain players can do that, but the NFL tells you what they think first, and right now the NFL is saying no thanks. And I mean, every single team for the first 4 rounds of the NFL draft said no thanks. I mean,
some didn't even bother with the thanks.
Yeah.
It's just no way, man.
Maybe have a 4-letter word in front of no too.
And Chris and I have reported to you already that the Steelers, if this draft had gone 20 rounds,
no,
they wouldn't have taken him.
He was on the do not draft list. 100%.
And it wasn't because of, this or that or whatever the weird accusations are, the insane accusations that have come out afterward, including racism and stuff, like as if this was the only African-American player available in the draft. It's crazy stuff that followed it. And I have no doubt that's going to be the case throughout this young man's career. And I'm not sure it does him, many favors, but then I see how he carries himself off the field, that ridiculous interview session that he had in Cleveland last week. And then I really don't care. So, all right, guys, listen, we're going to call it a day here. We're going to hook up with some of these people here that are behind us. If you're coming down this weekend, stop at 224 Fifth Avenue. We'll be open for another couple hours today. We'll be open a long time tomorrow. And then Sunday, actually open. She's open before kickoff. I'll be getting some rest after covering the hockey game tomorrow night and then heading over to football. And in the meantime, go get the app. We weren't going to end this show without bringing that up. Did you bring up the app, by the way, when you did the show by yourself, or were you good cop? Okay.
Of course I did. Of course I did. I'm a good company guy.
All right. So here, we'll do it a little bit differently today. Chris is going to sell you on the app, and then you can email Chris.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Oh yeah, we're doing it.
I got to know. I got next opponent to write. All
right. Email me then. Here's what we're gonna do. Send me your pleas, your begs for the premium level of the app, the hit me ups. That's right. DK at DKPittsburghSports.com. Spell all that out, just like the website. DK at DKPittsburghSports.com. One person this week, Chris, set the all-time record. They just put in the subject line, app. And the rest of the email was blank. I loved it.
You literally cannot get any more simple than that.
App. Send.
Yeah.
Hey,
awesome.
they got the discount and they got the subscription, so it worked anyway. So hit me up works, app works, anything you want to write works.
Good stuff.
All right, guys, we'll talk to you on Sunday, of course. Steelers versus Browns, 1:02 p.m. Acrisure Stadium. Bye-bye.